professors from LSU, Dr. Catherine Jacquet and Dr. David Stamps. Just want to remind witnesses coming to the table, they are not to ask questions of the committee. The questions come from here, and you can answer. Obviously, I want to give a little bit of latitude on that, but we got to keep that a little tighter. Thank you. Please introduce yourself before you speak.
Okay, all right. Hello, my name is Catherine Jacquet. I'm a professor of history and women's gender and sexuality studies at LSU. I'm speaking as an individual scholar and as a professional historian who studies histories of racism, discrimination, and oppression. I'm not here as a representative of LSU. HB 564 is very alarming to me, and I'm really worried about the negative repercussions it would have, particularly on the teaching of history here. I would like to go on record to say that the 3/5 compromise was in fact racist. I know some people couldn't say that earlier. I think that needs to be said. I'm also very concerned with the state of education in Louisiana if it's not obvious to everybody that Louisiana has in fact systemically and institutionally been racist and discriminated in the past. You don't need to be a professional historian to know that. So it seems with this bill that there's a fear that there is a Marxist revolution happening in our classrooms, that white students are under attack, and that somehow teachers are discriminating against white students. That's what I'm reading, or that's what I'm hearing, and that's simply not true. I would like to see, I believe as a historian we need evidence if we want to make a claim. And so I'm also concerned that there has been no evidence produced. These documents or the anecdotal, you can't make an argument on that, and you can't pass legislation without actual evidence. So that concerns me about the bill. But also, particularly in terms of teaching of history, because the bill is not very clear in terms, divisive concept is so ambiguous, I'm concerned that we won't be able to teach about the histories of race and racism in this state, honestly. We won't be able to teach about histories of oppression and discrimination in this country the way we need to, because if those things are defined as divisive concepts and you have to show the other side, I'm not really sure what the other side, for example, of disfranchisement is, or denying the history or denying rights to people. I'm not really sure what the other side of that is. So that really concerns me. In terms of the contemporary situation, racism and sexism are very prevalent today. The Southern Poverty Law Center has documented the incredible rise of hate groups in this country, for example, particularly in the past 25 years. There's over 1,600 such hate groups in operation: the KKK, the neo-Nazi, white nationalist groups, anti-government militias. And the agendas of those groups that are racist, sexist, anti-government, they seep far beyond the boundaries of those groups. And if we can't talk about that in our classrooms, how do we educate our students about the pervasiveness of hatred that continues to exist in our country? Our students deserve to be fully informed citizens. They deserve to know histories of oppression and discrimination in this country. They deserve to know how those things still manifest today. And they want to know. They want to talk about these so-called divisive concepts because these are issues that they are deeply impacted by. Teaching our students about the histories and current realities of racism and sexism, it's not divisive. What it does is it helps them to understand the world that they live in. So I believe HB 564 is incredibly dangerous for those reasons. If it's passed, it's going to keep students ignorant. It's going to keep them from understanding where we have been, who we are now, and where we can be as a nation.
Hi, my name is Dr. David Stamps. I am an assistant professor at Louisiana State University, and I am testifying today as an educator, a parent, a current Louisianan, and I do not represent an official position on behalf of my employer. Yet, I would like to address some of the language and the intentions behind HB 564. I understand that we've talked at length about the ambiguity within the text, and the apprehension concerning the bill's intent. And I just kind of want to shift the conversation, if I can, for a second about our students, because none of them are here today. Our K through 12 learners, our college students, they're not here to speak on behalf of what they're going to receive in the classroom, and they're absent from this conversation, and that matters. I understand personally, as a parent, as an educator, with the recent social unrest, the COVID-19 global pandemic, and the increasing uncertainty that we have all collectively faced, I've seen firsthand a renewed energy from our young scholars to become competitive global leaders as we move into our new normal. Our kids want to be at the forefront of what it means to make Louisiana an amazing state. But they also understand and they recognize that in order to lead, we have to have dialogue in the classroom, in our communities, in our homes that center inclusion and equity. Contrary to some of the text in the bill, our learners are eager to engage. They ask thoughtful questions, and they are excited about their role in creating and upholding an equitable society. I am fortunate to teach several dozen, if not hundreds, of Louisianans every semester. I'm married to a K through 5 educator, and since the summer of 2020, I've also facilitated numerous conversations across the state in elementary schools, churches, collegiate student organizations, and professional organizations, all of whom are interested or excited to become or support our future trailblazers. And those individuals want to be equipped to position Louisiana to live up to its full potential. Any trepidation about an individual being made to feel discomfort, guilt, or anguish during these conversations surrounding differences, that's important. But our scholars are resilient and they're up for the challenge, so don't minimize their tenacity. I completely understand that becoming a thoughtful global citizen is steeped in these trainings related to our identities, including the identities of each and every person in this room right now. And our students know that as well. I can say with confidence that our next generation in this state is not timid about the future or the challenges ahead. They are excited and they welcome conversations that sharpen their intellect and that position them to be competitive in the global marketplace. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, we have no questions from the committee.